This is an instructional video on how to solve problems involving rotations. The word rotations, or sometimes it's just simply rotate, means to turn. And you can turn two directions. You can turn clockwise, which is to the right, and you go in a circle. Or you can go counterclockwise, which is the opposite direction. That would be to the left, again in a circle. When you are given the directions on rotating, there could be four possibilities. It could say to rotate 90 degrees, which is going to be one time. 180 degrees is going to be two times, so you're turning it one time for 90 degrees, you're turning it two times for 180 degrees. The third one, 270 degrees, you would turn the shape three times, and for 360 degrees, that would be four times. When you have a 360 degree shape, you turn it four times, it goes back to the original position. The most important thing when you are rotating is that at the end, we have to match the positive and negative signs to the final location on the graph. For this problem, we have triangle ABC with vertices A at 2, 7, B at 6, 5, and C at 4, 1. And we're going to go 90 degrees clockwise. So remember, clockwise is to the right. We're going 90 degrees, which is one time. And so I'm going to count the quadrants. When I say the word quadrants, I mean this big square going from the x-axis and the y-axis. So this purple one that I've blocked out here is our starting quadrant. And so we can go and count to one of these other quadrants, going the direction and the number of times it specifies. So if I am starting in the purple quadrant, that's called quadrant 1, and we are going to go one quadrant to the right. Okay, remember clockwise, we go around in a circle. I would go one to the right. I would end up in the orange quadrant. So we know we're going to end in this position. Now, when it comes to our points, we want to turn our points, rotate means turn, we want to turn it one time because it's 90 degrees. So instead of A being 2, 7, we're going to turn it and make it 7, 2. For B, instead of being 6, 5, we're going to turn it and make it 5, 6. And for C, instead of 4, 1, we're going to make it 1, 4. The last step on our notes was to make sure that we match the positive and negatives to the location on the graph. So for example, for letter A, I need to go over 7, so that's a positive 7. But I have to go down 2 in order to make it into this bottom square, meaning that 2 needs to be negative. For B, I need to go over 5, so that's a positive. But I need to go down 6. Down 6 means it's a negative. For C, I go to the right 1, that's positive, but I have to go down 4, so that's negative. Connect our dots. And we have the exact same triangle, but it's been turned on its side. For this problem, we have square PQRS with vertices P at 2, 6, Q at 6, 5, R at 5, 1, and S at 1, 2. And we are starting in this purple quadrant. This is quadrant number 1. We want to go 180 degrees. Now, it does not say clockwise or counterclockwise because 180 degrees does not matter direction. Both directions get you the same answer. 180 degrees means we're going to go 2 times. So we're going to count 2 quadrants. So starting at our square, we're going to go 1. So that would put me in this left-hand quadrant. And then we're going to go 2, which puts me in the bottom quadrant. We count 2 times. So I know I'm going to end up in this green quadrant down here. Now when it comes to our actual points, we want to turn the points 2 times. So starting with letter P, if I turn the point 1 time, it would give me 6, 2. We want to turn the point 2 times because it's 180. So I turn it again to 6. We have to do it 2 times. Think about what do you notice about our starting point and our ending point. You should realize that they're the same, 2, 6 and 2, 6. Same thing with Q. I turn it 1 time, 90 degrees would give me 5, 6. 2 times, 180 degrees would give me 6, 5. Same thing with R. I turn it 1 time, I get 1, 5. I turn it 2 times, I get 5, 1. And the same with S. Turning it 1 time gets me 2, 1. Turning it 2 times gets me 1, 2. The last step comes in when we have to graph the points. We decided early on that I needed to end up in the green quadrant, quadrant number 3. To end up in quadrant number 3, I have to go left 2. Left is negative. So that is a negative 2. I also need to go down 6. Down is negative. Make your signs match the final location, that quadrant that we need to go into. For point Q, I need to go left 6. Left is negative, so it's a negative 6. And down 5. Down 5 is also negative. For R, we need to go left 5. So again, that's going to be a negative 5. And we need to go down 1. Down 1 is also negative. Notice we're making all of our numbers negative to match our quadrant. For point S, I need to go left 1, so that's negative. And we need to go down 2, so that's also going to be negative. We end up with the same square, but turned on its side the opposite direction. For this problem, we have trapezoid JKLM with vertices J at 3, 4, K at 6, 4, L at 8, 1, and M at 1, 1. We want to go 270 degrees, that's 3 times, and we want to go counterclockwise, which is to the left. Remember, we're going to go backwards around the clock. So if I want to go backwards 3 times, I'm going to start here in quadrant 1, and we are going to go 1, 2, and 3 times. We have to go all the way around. We count the big squares. This would be the first time, this would be the second turn, this one would be the third turn. We're going around the squares. When it comes to our actual points, we want to turn the points 3 times. So for point J, turning it 1 time would be 4, 3. Turning it 2 times would be 3, 4. Turning it again a third time would end up with 4, 3. For letter K, turning it 1 time would put us at 4, 6. Turning it 2 times would put us at 6, 4. Turning it 3 times would put us at 4, 6. For point L, we're starting at 8, 1. If I turn it 1 time, I turn those and make it a 1, 8. If we were doing 2 times, it would be an 8, 1. 3 times would be a 1, 8. And same thing for letter M. We're starting with 1, 1. I turn it 1 time, it's 1, 1. I turn it 2 times, 1, 1. And I turn it 3 times, 1, 1. When it comes to actually graphing the points, we need to make sure that those positive and negative signs match this bottom quadrant that we're working in. So I need to go right 4. For letter J, I go right 4. Right is positive. But I need to go down 3. Down 3 is negative. For point K, we're going to go right 4. Right is positive, but down 6. Down is negative. So that is a negative 6. For point L, we go right 1. That's positive, but we go down 8. That's going to be negative. And for point M, we go right 1, that's positive, down 1, that's negative. When you connect your dots, you end up with the same trapezoid, but turned sideways. For this problem, we have triangle XYZ with vertices X at 3, -2, Y at 6, 1, and Z at 5, -7. And we want to rotate 180 degrees. This does not say clockwise or counterclockwise because it does not matter which direction you go. Both directions will get you the same answer. Now you should notice that this problem looks different than the others because X and Z are in the bottom quadrant, but Y is still in that top quadrant. So we need to solve it in 2 separate pieces. If we're looking at X and Z and we want to go 2 times, that would put me at 1 and 2. That would put me in this top left-hand quadrant. If I am looking at Y, I want to go 1, 2. That puts me in this bottom quadrant. You have to look at the individual sections for this problem because it overlaps an edge. Looking at the actual points, we want to turn the points 2 times. So turning it 1 time would put me at a 2, 3. Turning it 2 times would put me back at 3, 2. Notice I dropped the negative sign. That's okay, because remember, we're going to put the negative signs back in the correct locations at the end. For point Y, turning it 1 time is going to put me at 1, 6. Turning it 2 times is going to put me back at 6, 1. And for Z, turning it 1 time is going to put us at 7, 5. Turning it 2 times is going to put us at 5, 7. For letter X, we are ending up in this top left-hand quadrant because we turned it 2 times. So I have to go left 3. Left 3 is negative, but I go up 2. Up 2 is positive. For letter Y, that was our blue line. We had to turn it 1, 2 times. We end up in this bottom quadrant. So for Y, we have to go left 6, but we have to go down 1. Left 6 is negative, down 1 is negative. And for letter Z, we have to go left 5, and we go up 7, because that was part of our red line. Left 5 is negative, up 7 is positive. We can connect our dots, and we end up with the same triangle that's been turned. For this problem, we have rhombus CDEF with vertices C at -5, 5, D at -1, 7, E at -3, 3, and F at -7, 1. We're going to rotate it 270 degrees, that is 3 times. and clockwise, which is to the right. So if we're going to the right-hand side 3 times, we're going to end up at 1, 2, 3. We end up in this bottom quadrant. For our actual points, we want to turn them 3 times. So for C, we are starting at -5, 5. If I turn those points 1 time, it's still 5, 5. 2 times is 5, 5. 3 times is 5, 5. Notice I dropped the negative sign. That's okay. We will put it back in the correct location at the end. For letter D, we're starting at -1, 7. If I turn it 1 time, I end up at 7, 1. 2 times is 1, 7. 3 times is 7, 1. Again, dropping that negative sign. For letter E, we're starting at -3, 3. I turn it 1 time, I'm still at 3, 3. 2 times, 3, 3. 4 times, 3 times, 3, 3. And the last section, F, we're starting at 7, 1. We turn it 1 time, that's 1, 7. 2 times, 7, 1. 3 times, 1, 7. Now when it comes to actually graphing it, to get to this bottom quadrant, we have to go left 5. This is letter C. Left is negative. We also have to go down 5. Down is also negative. For letter D, we have to go left 7. That's negative. And down 1. That's also negative. For letter E, we have to go left 3, that's negative, and down 3, that's also negative. And for letter F, we have to go left 1, that's negative, and down 7, that's also negative. We can connect our dots. We end up with the same rhombus that's been turned 3 times. For this problem, we have rectangle TUVW with vertices T at -3, -1, U at 0, -2, V at -2, -8, and W at -5, -7. We're going to turn 90 degrees, which is 1 time, and we're going to go counterclockwise, which is to the left. We're going backwards around the clock. So to go backwards to the left 1 time, we're going to end up in this bottom right-hand quadrant 1 time. For our points, we're going to turn the points 1 time. So for letter T, instead of 3, 1, we end up with 1, 3. We drop the negative signs for now. We'll put them back in later. For U, 0, 2, we turn it 1 time to become 2, 0. For V, 2, 8, we turn it 1 time to become 8, 2. And for W, 5, 7, we turn it 1 time to become 7, 5. Now to end up in this bottom quadrant where we turned it 1 time, we have to go right 1 for letter T, right 1, that's positive, but we need to go down 3. Down 3 is going to put us at a negative. For U, we need to go right 2, that's positive, and 0, which is neither positive nor negative. For letter V, we're going to go right 8, which is positive, but we need to go down 2, which is negative. And for letter W, we need to go right 7, and which is positive, but down 5, which is negative. Connect your dots, and you end up with the same rectangle that's been turned on its side 1 time. For this problem, we have parallelogram MNOP with vertices M at 1, 7, N at 8, 5, O at 4, 2, and P at -3, 4. We're going to rotate 280 degrees, which is 2 times, And it does not say counterclockwise or clockwise because it does not matter which direction you go. Both directions will get you the same location. What you should notice is that one point is left by itself in its own quadrant. Letter P is not with the rest of the group. It's off on a different section, so we have to treat that differently. For the M, N, and O, we want to go 2 times, so 1 and 2 would put us down here at this bottom quadrant. For letter P, 1, 2 would put me here at the bottom right quadrant. So we're going to look at each individual point. For point M, we're starting at 1, 7. We want to turn it 2 times. 1 time would be 7, 1. 2 times gets me back to my point, 1, 7. For N, 1 time would be 5, 8. 2 times is 8, 5. For letter O, we're starting at 4, 2. We turn it 1 time, that's 2, 4. We turn it 2 times, that's 4, 2. And for letter P, we're starting at -3, 4. We turn it 1 time, that's 4, 3. We turn it 2 times, that's 3, 4. Yes, we did drop the negative sign, but we will add it back in later. When we go to graph the points, letters M, N, and O are referred to by the red line. P is referred to by the blue line. So starting with M, we want to end up in this bottom left-hand quadrant here. And so we need to go left 1 and down 7. Left 1 is negative. Down 7 is negative. Same thing with letter N. We're going to go left 8, that's negative, and down 5, that is also negative. For letter O, we're going to go left 4, negative, and down 2, also negative. For letter P, that's the blue line, we end up in this other quadrant down here on the bottom right quadrant. And so we need to go right 3 and down 4. Right 3 is positive, down 4 is negative. Connect your dots. You end up with the same parallelogram. 3 points are in the same quadrant, 1 point is by itself. And it's been turned 2 times. For this problem, we have square ABCD with vertices A at -7, 5, B at -4, 7, C at -2, 4, and D at -5, 2. We want to go 90 degrees, so that's going to be 1 time. And we want to go counterclockwise, which is to the left, backwards around the clock. So if we're going to go 1 time to the left, starting in this quadrant, we are going to end up in this bottom left-hand quadrant. We go 1 time. When it comes to our actual points, we're going to turn them 1 time as well. Instead of starting with A at 7, 5, we're going to change it to 5, 7. We drop the negative signs for now. We will put them back in the correct location at the end. For point B, we start at 4, 7. We turn it to 7, 4. For C, we start at -2, 4. We turn it to 4, 2. Turn it 1 time. And for D, 5, 2, we turn it 1 time to get 2, 5. Now to end up in this bottom quadrant, we have to go to the left 5, which is negative, and we also have to go down 7, which is also negative. Letter B, we have to go left 7, that's negative, and down 4, that's also negative. For C, we have to go left 4, that's negative, and down 2, that is also negative. And for D, we're going to go left 2, that's negative, and down 5, that's also negative. Connect your dots, and you end up with the same square that's been turned on its side.